5 tips for successfully managing remote teams. Leadership is the ability to get extraordinary achievement from ordinary people. Brian Tracy. Last week, Brian gave you 5 tips for working from home. But what do you do if you're actually running a business remotely and have people to manage? Finding yourself forced to manage a team remotely that you are accustomed to managing in person can present a real number of unforeseen challenges. It's essential, therefore, to plan ahead and develop a strategy that will enable you and your team to maintain your usual level of efficiency even when you aren't all under the same roof. To help you out, here are 5 useful tips for successfully managing remote teams. Tip number 1, have a daily check-in. In many instances, managing a remote team is going to require you to trust your team members to do their job, without the level of direct oversight and management that they might be used to. With that said, though, even something as simple as a single daily check-in can go a long way towards keeping everyone on the same page and ensuring that everyone understands what is expected of them each and every single day. Once a day, schedule a phone call or video Zoom conference with your entire team and discuss the day ahead to create a daily check-in where every member of your team is able to listen for instructions, ask questions, and voice concerns. Tip number 2, utilize technology. Technology such as video conferencing apps like Zoom and online project management platforms such as Asana are priceless when it comes to successfully managing a remote team. If you make use of the right technology, you can stay fully connected to your team no matter where they're located, enabling you to send files back and forth, complete meetings via video conference, assign tasks to specific team members, and track their progress, and much more. Tip number 3, vocalize your expectations. Being suddenly required to work from home is almost certainly going to be a confusing time for your team. And it is likely that many, if not all, members of your team will be left wondering what is expected of them in this new work environment. Thus, it is essential to make your expectations clear from day one. Whether you develop a new set of expectations for your team that applies while they are working remotely, or you plan to hold them to the same expectations as always, vocalizing your expectations early and often is vital if you want to ensure that those expectations are met. Tip number 4, stay focused on outcome, not activity. Not being able to directly oversee what your team is doing at all times is no reason to become a micromanager. Rather than constantly attempting to ensure that the team is doing what is required of them, focus more on the outcome rather than the activity. So long as the outcome of their work remains acceptable, micromanaging your remote team's activity is not a necessity. Trust your team and the chances are they will live up to that trust. And finally, tip number 5, create a communication strategy. As you are undoubtedly well aware, good communication is vital if you plan to successfully manage a remote team. However, what qualifies as quote-unquote good communication when you are working remotely can be very vague. It often isn't possible to maintain the same level of communication that you are able to maintain when your entire team is under the same roof without bogging them down with emails and risk veering into the realm of micromanagement. At the same time, though, keeping an open line of communication is still vital. Ultimately, it's up to you to find a balance between these two concerns and develop a communication strategy that will work best for you and your team.